Can you guys see my screen? Okay. Cool. So Bitcoin, right? I'll cover Bitcoin and then we'll go through some others. Hold on. All right. So I think for me the important thing here is how this week kind of closes. For bulls, it would need to close above here because if it closes below here, the weekly candle, that would be like a weekly, right? We had one here. The only thing about this candle, right? We didn't see any like huge follow through. Like once it closed here, that was like it carried on like 2.8K, but it didn't really we didn't really break the lows here. There was no follow through, right? So there was quite a lot of demand here, right? Which held. And then now, right, we're back at like range highs, I guess you could say. I would have considered this range highs, but clearly we flipped this supply here, right? So this is now basically demand, right? So, but what's interesting here, right, is how this week kind of closes. So if it closes above this point here, I reckon it's safe to say that we definitely, if that's even if we don't get like today, right, the equal highs. But I'm pretty confident we will. I always said like a month ago, like I will start scaling into shorts here because back here it did the same thing, right? Like this like high time frame view up from all-time highs. It's kind of been like the resistance, right, for Bitcoin. So say we get up here. I expect like at least some sort of rejection. If we're gonna flip that, then that's when you would probably. That's when I would personally probably get like more risk on. Is like flipping this next view up because again above that would sort of like validate my bearish thesis that we're gonna see a lot lower. Well, not that much lower, just like 50K maybe ish. So that would be like validation, like going closing probably like a weekly candle above. Right now would be like 85K, I reckon, would be kind of my invalidation. And I'd be targeting like new highs. But like right now, I don't think that will be the case right now. I think we do see like a rejection from like anywhere starting from like 7 to 9K. To basically like I could see a max push to like 84, but like no more than that. We have equal highs here, so these highs here weren't swept. Maybe on Bybit they were swept, but on Binance they are like equal highs. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this tagged in. Also, that's within like this golden pocket from this high here. So like whenever you're drawing fibs, you always line it from like the last pivotal high before like an impulsive move downwards, right? And that's where the golden pocket is right now, right? So for this move here, if we're looking at like daily structure, if we get like a pullback to like assuming this is like the top, then I would look for bullish triggers around like 773. That's kind of a must-hold level as well because like going below this low here. It will start looking like a break structure. So hold on, let me remove this here, right? So losing this low here wouldn't be too bearish. I would say going back and accepting below VAH would be probably the most bearish scenario. So basically retracing this whole bearish move that we have here. Sorry. So if we do get like a retrace like around here, that's where you probably look for like sweeps or whatever confluences you guys use, right? Like EMAs, whatever lines up with like this area here. There's like this little consolidation right, that we had for this other move up. That's currently what I'm waiting for. If this level isn't hit soon, right? So I expect like at least a retest of like 76 at some point. Only thing is like we don't know yet whether that would be like before or after we tap 79k. If it's before we tap 79, then yeah, I would be more comfortable like planting a scalp long here. I had a scalp long this week that ended up getting stopped out. It was a half risk, but like I think it was a scalp. So, but like let me see. It was like here, right? So my invalidation was too tight. So I remember seeing this sweep here. Oh no, that's the wrong tool. I saw this low time frame sweep here, and then we ended up closing above, right? Like the high that ended up closing the sweep. So my entry was basically like in the midpoint of this like low time frame, like consolidation that we had, and then my validation was right below there, and it got invalidated pretty quickly, right? So, but like what I should have done here in this case was probably at least re-enter on like the SFP or like I'd say maybe obviously this is hindsight, but like a valid setup would have been like seeing this like in this kind of basically engulf, right? And then like enter on this little retrace here, but to be honest, I was pretty I wasn't too comfortable like risking another play here. It was a bit annoying off first stop, but 100% like I should have given it another try here, and that would have worked out, but that's fine. Or maybe like this entry that I have here, I maybe should have used like a wider valve. But it was a scalp, so I wasn't like trying to swing long here necessarily. And let me look at chat. Okay. Yeah, if you have any options to look at, let me know. So yeah, high time for like force on Bitcoin is like mid time frame and low time frame obviously bullish. Although like high time frame is still like the structure is still bearish. So I'm like cautiously lower time frame bullish, right? I'm still keeping the high time frames in check, right? So yeah, I don't like currently I don't see any clean low time frame sells on Bitcoin. On Sol there is sort of okay. So Sol is one that has been lagging quite a bit, right? Because Bitcoin's already made a new high, like local high, right? Not all-time high, but local high. And Sol still hasn't, you know, made a new high yet. So in my opinion, Sol's quite weak. It's lost a lot of its narrative. You know, meme coins aren't as big as they used to be. So I don't expect Solana to be like as like outperforming as it was back in the day. I say back in the day, but it's only like last year, right? The last 2 years it was had a pretty big narrative, which was like the on-chain meme coin super cycle sort of. Yeah, that's what I would call it. But so I think a clean setup would be if Bitcoin can push a little bit more, which would be nice, right? If Bitcoin push a little bit more, and then we maybe tap the supply zone here. I think Solana could make a lower high. I'm being, and that's me being like, that's me being pretty generous if considering that like it's already at the golden pocket. So like this is like some people would argue this is a short setup in itself. Like shorting at golden pocket stops like above 786. But for me, I'm not currently seeing any structure breaks, so we don't necessarily have confirmation just yet. So like the thing would be the setup for me would be say we're making high highs and then high lows, right? The second I notice a high low get broken, right? So H structure or whatever daily structure gets broken. That's probably what I would be more comfortable opening a short position here. So this is what I'm kind of looking at. But obviously we need, this isn't a limit trade or anything. This is kind of just based on like, this would be like reactional, not like a limit trade or anything. If anything, like right now, for a limit, since I do think Bitcoin pushes is a little bit higher, I would say for Solana, like any retest I'd say of like this lower time frame, I would consider this like low time frame consolidation. So like if we retest the like 50% of this, I think this would be a nice long. Let me remove this for now. So like around 88.4, invalidation a little bit under that low, and my target would probably be like that supply zone above. So the only thing that we're in this setup is that technically we are at golden pocket, and we are at range highs, so we shouldn't really look for looking for longs at range highs, but I do think Bitcoin pushes a little bit higher. So I think this would be a clean setup if it does happen. Since it's not like since we are like technically trading premium, I wouldn't risk a 4R on this. I'd probably go half risk, but it's still worth one, I think. So I'll drop this setup in chat. Oh wait, let me turn on the labels. We'll see. I mean, the thing is, I'd be much more confident waiting on structure, right? Okay. I'll have a look at Talon because I'm sure those are more interesting than Solana. Okay. Let me see. Tau. Okay, so I can see already like this is above the H20MA now. So it's showing impressive strength. I can also see. Oh wow! Look at this. Wait, I actually had drawings on this before. Okay. So this fib. Oh man, this was clean. I wasn't watching, but it didn't quite hit it, the golden pocket, but it got close enough. We had a clean sweep at the lows. That could have been a trigger for a long, to be honest. But obviously, yeah, this one's pushing now. That's a tricky. It's a tricky one because it does look kind of bullish now. But let me see. Let's do a top-down analysis. So daily is daily flip bearish here, right? So I would say, but midterm bullish because we closed back above this high here, this little low time frame high. What I would say is like I don't want to top blast here. I would rather this local H4 low. Let's put a fib, and then so essentially I would say anywhere between this box here is where you would look for longs. So say for example it comes back down here and then like lower time frame sweeps a high and then it closes above sweeps a low and then it closes above the high that swept that low here. So let me drag this here and then I'll delete this. If it can get a pullback to here, assuming it tops out here, which it probably doesn't, but you would basically carry on adjusting, right? This would probably be a sell I would actually take. I'll remove this box for now just so it's a bit clearer. But anywhere like in this zone, I think is pretty clean for a long potentially. I'll actually set alerts. So right now, hold on, let me remove this because this 0.5 has been tapped. So I would say, obviously I need to wait for it to pull back, but like the idea would be, like the idea remain the same. Hold on, let me. Okay, I think my targets would probably be, yeah, the point of control of this range here. So like, so the way I look at Tau is like, it's in a massive, I mean, arguably like our very high time frame range, right? So we kind of consolidated at point of control. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but we did kind of like, you know, come back down, right? So, and the area, yeah, it wasn't a perfect value area retest, but I mean, I'd say it's close enough to where like you'd be looking for longs around here. And now that we've got like confirmed structure break, right, you can assume that potentially it, like if it does like carry on, then it would be a retest from this area, right? So yeah, I would say like at minimum you take a TP like here. I think this fit is invalid now because we've had a new lower put in, but yeah, maybe it is kind of getting above. I think I'll do this. The only thing is like I would need to adjust it a little bit to whatever like the structure is down here, but this is sort of just an idea for now. But Tau does look bullish, like lower time frame. I don't know if you're already in a long anonymous, but I would say yeah, hold it because we've had now H4 structure break, so you can at least expect to this low to get protected. If we close back below this low, 244, it it doesn't look as great anymore. Mon, I think Monad, right? I think that was looking pretty good. Let me see here. Okay. Clean range, right? Clean range. Let me see. I'll start from the daily. Okay, so this was like kind of, yeah, this is like pretty much every altcoin chart. So okay, so massive like what would I say, like just pretty much fuckery. You had a scam bump here, more downtrend, and then like most alts go through this stage of like sideways consolidation, like higher time frame, right? Obviously, like intraday, these are pretty big moves, like 90%, like 40%. So what I would say is like lower time frame wise, this is definitely a range here, right? So let's pull a volume profile off this range, right? See where most of the the volume has been traded, and let's see. I mean, I would never long here just because we could easily do something like this. Although the only confirmation for me that for higher would be like H4 close above this this level here, right? Because before it's just been sweeps above it, right? So two scenarios would be like for Monad to close above the H4 candle here, and then obviously I'm assuming if it closes the H4 above here, it would probably not give an easy pullback, right? So you'd probably have to like go on the 1 minute and like kind of scout for a pullback. But just to make it easy, we'll pretend this is the 1 minute. So you'd wait for like I don't know, like a 5 minute or 15 minute, whatever time frame you're comfortable with. You'd wait for like a pullback, right? You'd long like the 618 or like the golden pocket. Stops below like a previous low or like the candle which caused the close, like the close above. Like I would imagine it would be pretty big, a pretty big displacement candle. And then you have pretty clean targets. Like you don't really have much. Let me see. Let me turn on EMAs. Daily wouldn't work. Nah. Yeah, we're above. We're above both EMAs, which shows like the trend is strong. I mean, we're already above this high, but yeah, your target would probably be if a close above here. I mean, that's a pretty big trade, right? Let me look at the 4 hour. See, I think we've already tapped this high, right? I believe. Oh no, we haven't. Okay, well I would at least assume like if we close above here, we would get a tap of this high here, 3939. So that would be, I'd probably take a small TP there, you know, just in case. So that would be like one scenario, right? The other scenario would be if it goes back to range lows, so value area low, I would probably have a, let me see. Swept that low, swept this low. Maybe like a limit right below this low. So kind of like similarly to here, where we like had a small SFP here. I would expect the same thing. Maybe potentially if we go back to this low, and then your inval would probably be, oh, it could come back and sweep this low. That's the only thing. But I mean, if Monad is truly bullish, then it shouldn't really accept below this low. So this is what I would do if it does come back down here. Hold on, I'll leave it like this for now. And then targets would be like the same thing, right? This one would be more of a swing trade. So something like that. So hold on, let me make this more clearer. Something like this. So like your limit should be right under that wick. So 32.73. I would say you wouldn't want it to go back down there. That's a pretty good inval. Basically under this low here. And yeah, I would maybe move this slightly here. Obviously the other scenario would be like if it closes above here, then you'd find like a, let me make this a little bit cleaner. So I'd say your stop loss would be a little bit wider just in case it does like retest that high. But either way, like if it does break out here, your targets just remain the same. Doesn't really change too much. So yeah, that's what I would say would be clean for Mon. Short scenarios, let me think. On a chart like this, I did, oh, Jesus man, I mean this is kind of looking like a rounded bottom. So I don't know if you're already long Anonymous, but if you got a clean entry, you can definitely, I don't know what the narrative is for Mon, but I if I remember correctly, it's like they're helping out Ethereum with like scaling. So if they're helping out Ethereum with scaling, they definitely should like receive more eyes than no, you know, most projects in the space. So it's like if you have a decent entry, I like, yeah, you'd take partials, but you wouldn't close fully, right? In case this wants to keep trending upwards. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any clean scenarios here for a short, but I think there are other there are other altcoins that are better looking for shorts, I'd say. Hyperliquid is one where like I am bullish this project on the higher time frame. Just the only thing is I'm playing the charts, right? So like we are like, I would say like on Hyperliquid we're nearing, I think we're closer to the top than we are at bottom. If I see like any clean, to be honest, any clean like short-term like shorts here, short-term triggers for a short, like I probably would take them because this is like quite a high time frame supply here. Yeah, like I would take them even if it's just for a scalp. This was one idea which I was gonna drop in the group, but I ended up skipping this one because it wasn't looking too good. I was waiting for like maybe potentially one more sweep of that low, but it just ended up retesting this like wick low here. But this one would have been clean, right? So the setup for this was like we had 30-minute sweep, and then that sweep led to like a candle close above the wick high that caused the sweep. So like once you had that, like it was very small, but it was still a candle close, right? So a breaker structure essentially. So on the retrace that was a nice long, but I fumbled out on that one. I should have kept it or alerted it even, right? But like if I see the same thing up here, right? Like I see like an SFP, a sweep, and then I see a breaker structure, like a lower time frame breaker structure, I probably would look to short. And even if it's just for like a little scalp move, I definitely think like whales would probably be selling around, like $47 to like $50. I definitely think that's $50 is like psychological resistance, right? So, I mean, I'm gonna mark that out because usually like round numbers is where like people like to sell, right? So it definitely makes sense. Like I guess like maybe more up here, right? Like or like after we've tapped it, So like something like this. Probably look to short. That would be like my even if it's just for a scalp, and then maybe leave a runner for in case it's the top. But yeah, I mean, I'd say I would be probably a lot more comfortable if I was already in a long, right? So if we get like more structure, I might actually alert a re-entry into this, something like this, right? Same exact plan, right? Wait for a sweep and then a breaker structure and then long the retrace. That would kind of be my plan as well, and then my target would be $50. I'll adjust this as well just to make it easy. Yeah, I think that's good. Obviously the short is reactional, same with the long, but I'll alert it in the group if I see the clean setup, right? So yeah, that's those are the alts for now. Like I don't really see much more interesting. I'll quickly cover USD dominance as well. Actually, I'll cover Ethereum then USD dominance. Ethereum. So Ethereum is one where it actually looks way better than ETH. Sorry. ETH looks better than Sol, right? But right. Here's what I'm gonna do. Most likely is like leave a limit order in for like this 618. Probably have like a tighter stop, to be honest. However, I would want like a pretty quick reaction here, and then I'll probably go stops break even very quickly. If there's no reaction and we just blast through here, I will probably cut the trade pretty quickly for like minus 0.1R, 0.2R. Because, well, to be honest, if I'm gonna short an alt, it's probably gonna be Solana, right? Once Bitcoin actually pushes a little bit higher. So, same thing with like ETH here. Like if I see like a small pullback here to like, I would say, what's like a clean level? Maybe like a retest of here. Any sort of like bullish structure around here, I would say. I would probably look to long ETH for a scalp long. Maybe retesting this SR. Hold on, let me. Something like this, I think would be clean. So long in that. Oh, no, that's a short. For like a quick scalp. Targets would be like the 618 probably, which is like right here, 25.45-ish area. 3.3R, I mean, you could probably make it a little bit better. Target like 4R. Obviously this is like reactional as well, right? Depends on structure as well. I think this high here is actually, yeah. I think that high there is worth marking out because we failed to displace above it, and this candle basically gave. We got a retest here, but if we get another retest, I would. It still seems like biddable to me. So yeah, that's what I've got marked for Ethereum right now, and obviously the higher time frame short, which it's not. I'd rather prefer. I'd prefer the I'd much rather take the Sol setup rather than the the Ethereum one, just because the Ethereum looks a bit more bullish. So, and then on USD dominance, right? So obviously like the weekly candles on these would give us a lot more information. But just from looking at USD dominance, I can see like, you know, on the 4 hour we've accepted below this zone here, right? This is like a H1 demand zone here, and we've now closed below it, right? On the H1 and on the H4. So what does that mean? It means like two things. One, like we will keep seeing continuation unless this level is reclaimed, right? So for bulls, we don't want a reclaim of this. That probably means I mean, it wouldn't be good. It would suggest this was just the deviation, right? Just like back here. The deviations have been pretty clean on USDT dominance. Like if you just look at this chart as a range, right? And then whenever like we like reclaim a level, for example here. Hold on, let me. So like the second we reclaim this level, like the 4 hour here, it was pretty much guaranteed that we were going to go back inside the range. So I'm treating this level here, or like this box here, right, the zone, kind of the same way. If we reclaim that, then it looks not the greatest. We want to see like a continuation here, I would say, for bulls, because well then that would like suggest more of like a, you know, breakout scenario. But I still think we would see like a potential rejection on Bitcoin, you know, anywhere from like 83 to like 79. So I think that would line up between this this low here on USDD. Either this low here is 6.9%, or the 786, right? So 6.7%. I would expect like either of these lines to provide essentially a bounce. So we'll see what happens. I want to drop this in chat as well. These are basically reaction zones, right? So getting back above here would be not good for bulls. And I would say we would at least see if the weekly candle closes below this level here, we can at least expect like this low to be tagged. If not, then the 786, right? So that's kind of my thoughts on USD dominance. I'll drop my chart in the chat. But yeah, there are like some clean setups forming, but we just need to be a little bit more patient, because it doesn't make sense top lossing longs here. But if we get like a sort of like a accumulation sideways price action, like choppy price action, and we get clean triggers for a move higher, then I would gladly take them, even though like it is kind of like top lossing. But I would never just take a long position just because like the daily candle was, you know, massively in the green. I would rather wait for like confirmation, or, you know, actual confidences. Right now we don't have the weekly candle confirmation closed just yet, so that will be a big tell for me in on Sunday night when we close that candle. So yeah, like higher time frame on the USD dominance still looks bullish, if I'm being honest. Weekly structure, right? The second we closed above this wick high here it looks pretty doomed. So could we see like an SR retest of this high here as well, which would line up perfectly with USD dominance? The 786 of the USD dominance, right, from this low here. yeah, like it's possible, right? Um, so we'll see. Like maybe I think the best scenario would be like try get some scalp longs in, with the target being like hot like mid 80s Bitcoin and like this level here on USD dominance, and then maybe opening some short positions, as a hedge. And if we push right through, if we blast through this, then well, we're in a good position either way because we're not like fully one sided into the market, right? We're not like full just fully just like on one side of the directional move. We're hedged, right? That's what I usually aim for, is to always be hedged, right? So yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll have more data, guys, once the weekly candle comes in. But